Okay, so it is the late month of September. It is September 26th, 2009, or 2019. It's about 9:30 in the morning. I woke up at 8:20, got in the shower, got out the house at 9 o'clock, out for my walks and my exercises. As you can see by the title of this video, update. This is an update on me and what going on with things that took place after the Trust and Money in-depth interview that I did, that I will link down below, or at least I'm going to try to remember that's going to be linked down below. I want to get out some things so I can get myself prepped and fully prepared for later on in this video. I want to talk about things that happened after that, behind the scenes, things that you guys ain't aware of, from then to where I am now. I'm going to say that no one's going to see this video probably till late February of 2020 to early March of 2020. I say that because some things might change. I know people are going to have a lot to say, and I'm here to break down a lot of things in this video before anybody wants to say any type of damn thing, start spreading bullshit. So, I'm going to go ahead now and get into it. You know, it took me about a full year, from half of 5 months, to prep myself for my last court date that took place, I want to say about 2 years ago now. And what happened 3 years ago. You know, the interview that I did took place 3 years ago because it did become public. And I wanted to go ahead and state everything that needed to be stated to shut a lot of things down before people wanted, again, to start saying bullshit. And, you know, a lot of people are going to talk, you know, about the situation that, yes, it had something to do with, most definitely with finances, but there's a lot that took place that led to those finances, and how there was a lot of things being done to me behind everything that I shared in that interview that I did. And when I was prepping myself for my last court date 3 years ago, right, then around the second year before my last court date, which was in 2 years ago of July, I forget what date it was, but it was definitely in the month of July. It was before or after the 4th at the most, and I wanted to make sure I had a lot of music ready to go. So I put out a lot of music. Those that kept up, those that follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, right, know that I was putting out music at 2 different places, even for sale. By the time everything was said and done in court, after that, I walked away with nothing. What I mean by I walked away with nothing is that I did win, but there was no money there to be won. Now, I know a lot of people who may get that misconstrued, or who don't understand that they see stuff on TV like, oh, you had a certain amount of money took from you, you set up a court escape for that, because you're going through whatever illegal terms and law terms that you're going through to try to get paid back your money that was stolen from you, which also went into the person being used as laundering, or even as a scamming device, even though there's actual things going on with that person that they could use that money to help with. And you have, you know, those crooked individuals that are always with you, right? People think, oh, well, you're going to get paid back something. No, because 100% of the time, and something like that, you're going to walk out with nothing. You may win the case, but you're going to walk out with no money, because there was no money there to begin with on the people who were doing this in the first place. Now the things that were won over, the things that was left that I won, was the house, since I was paying for it. I want to get into the house because you guys see what this thumbnail is, right? Then I won the firearms, even though I don't have a license to own them, because those firearms are bought not for my money, but also underneath my name. And a lot of people will think, well, how can that happen? The system's going to check if that person's a felon, which I've been a third time felon. Did time twice over in max, right? Or they're going to see, okay, do you own a license? Do you own this? Well, when you have money, it turns the other cheek. Plus, when you have no documentations on you for such a very long time, because over the time when you're not filing taxes and when you're not working, and when certain things are cleared from the system, from the state you live in, it's like you don't exist, and that's what happened. So a lot of it went through the cracks, and that can happen that can happen to anybody, you know, depending on who that person is and how long it takes for something to show up, or for something to happen to catch up to get to that point. Like, oh, okay, this person doesn't have this or that to get these, but here's this much money that was paid, and you get questioned. You know, when I talk about how that came to be, to where now, after that, I was always focused on music. You guys seen the video that I posted, said this is what I do, or something like that. When I posted that video, most of the CDs I had out on hard copy. Now, that ain't all the music I have. Like, there's plenty more. I've been doing music for 9 years. Those are only the ones that are updated, that got the best quality when I decided to put money into myself and put more things out on physical, because I don't know how much music I have out digitally versus physically, but I know there's a lot of music there on both sides of the party, plus in general as a whole. You know, and I talk a bit more about that in a video that you guys have seen called I don't know the name of the video, but it talks about why I stepped down in my retirement from music. So, obviously that one will be linked, and to fill in that empty space right there as well for those that see this video that want to get caught up with that. So, next thing would be a year later, after everything's said and done. I put my music not just out there, but I also invested in the things that I wanted to do, and then cut back on things that I've done before. The things that I cut back on that I've done before that I see a lot of people getting into now is clothing. You know, clothing is a business that goes up, it goes down, and for a good while, yes, it's going to be down more than it is up, because nobody's really going to be looking for clothing, or nobody's really going to be wanting to get t-shirts done. I've done the t-shirt thing with Gary. You know, I learned some things from him behind the scenes that I took upon myself to learn how to do, to advertise the things that I was doing. Plus, I also did business along with Eric and learned the clothing business from him. after I decided to take a step from that, I decided to cut down my partnership with him to let me just put out music. From there, I invested into a clothing brand, into a clothing business called ChEDDErTarY Collection. That's for native people. When I mean native, I'm talking a certain race of people that may not get a chance to grab certain types of clothing, in terms of actual Nigerians that are here in America, natives, and plus also help invest over in Beijing, Nigeria, with the person that I'm currently with her friend and her brother. I have transfer documentations of both, from transferring to also getting paid, but I need to be paid as well. I have that. So I did that for a good while. It got to the point where I just didn't want to do it as much anymore. And I talked about it with her to find a sponsor who will help sponsor those fundings, and the fundings will go for her for schooling, since she's more required for schooling than I am. You know, when I talk about that, you know, that I was offered to go back to school, and you guys can find that video if you guys want to know about that, and the videos that are linked underneath that goes into, you know, how I received a fake diploma, plus the follow-up video I did about that as well. You know, from there, invested into local, off-the-grid, native type of films with good production behind. One was Suicidal, and then one was Until Dawn. Now, I've lost money doing that, and that's the thing about doing business like that, is that you're going to lose money more than you're going to gain money. You know, so I've done those things behind what was going on for, I don't know how long. I don't want to say a long time, but I don't want to say a short time either. To play it safe, I want to say maybe a good full year from last year, and followed up a little bit late year prior to that, then a little bit early of, you know, this year, which then, you know, leads me to now at this time, because I will get to the house part. Well, what I've been doing is that you guys don't see on this channel, and for those that follow this channel, I'm not going to be active anymore on this channel. If anything, I would say this is the last video. So those that follow me on my channel need to follow me on my new main channel, which is my secondary channel that has more subscribers, more views, more stats than this channel. And the channel that I'm talking about is called ChEDDErTarY 931. You know, if you're on a desktop, you guys can find that where it says channels on my page, on this page, if that makes any sense. Or if you guys are on the mobile device, you know, it should be on channels, and you should see something on this page on your right hand side that should say ChEDDErTarY channels, and it's going to be the first one that's going to pop up. That's going to say ChEDDErTarY 931 on there. So there's that. But what I've been working on is my weight loss. You know, right now I'm at 207, which I don't believe that, because last time I checked I'm down at 203. My goal is to hit 120, and I've been working on a lot of my health. I've been working on my health a lot. One thing you guys don't know, I have liver failure. My heart area, and I do have a bad heart. I've been working on that. I am now, by the time, you know, type 3 diabetic, lost full sight in my right eye. So there's that. and I've really been focusing, a lot on that. I've been doing a lot of weight loss videos and update weight loss videos on my ChEDDErTarY 931 channel. And I started that channel because where I am now, by the time you guys see this video, I'm already 30 years old. I don't know how long I have on this planet, but because of my wisdom, my knowledge, and my growth as a human, spiritually, physically, mentally, religiously, I want to share my knowledge and the truth about a lot of things that will help people, no matter what they may be going through, because what that channel's about is about growing beyond your expectations and beyond the expectations of others, regardless of where people in society want to put you in. And I made that channel because those are things that hit home to me that clearly matter the most. And where I am now, that leads to the house. A couple weeks ago, right, we got a high bill in the mail. I got a high bill in the mail. Now, I already talked about the people that's going to be leaving the house and the Trust, Money, and Debt interview. And what's going to happen. Anybody that lives in this town, when you run through Columbia Power water system every summer, they raise up the bill, right? The bill got to $1,015. I always kept the lights off, tried to keep the air conditioner off, because the air conditioner part is really what caused that bill, regardless of it being off. And how things are now, they can just cut that on from their factory. A lot of people don't know that. And that caused a high bill to where I had to lose my water, I had to lose power. I couldn't pay it. Couldn't. Then got a foreclosure notice on the house. The state wants to foreclose on the house. I haven't got any papers served to me from the sheriff's office yet during the making of this video. Now, that may change by the time you guys see this video. Like I said, that may be late February to early March. The house, I always said, I never wanted to keep it because I don't. When I was being asked questions to the court, even through trying to get insurance, the question always brought up, okay, what do you want to do with the house? I was like, I don't want to keep it because, one reason the house is a money pit. For some reason, it's just that house alone on that block. And the court, the state had to pull up history on that house, and several owners before me had hard financial reasons with that house to where it can't even be brought up to code. There was people that put an X amount of dollars in trying to get that house up to date, up to code, even us. And we're like almost $250,000 in debt in that house. And it can't even be brought up to date and up to code because the house was built very bad, very poorly. And even one of the previous owners never took care of that house. There's a lot of surface damage that you can see, a lot of hidden damage that you can't see, inside damage that you can see from pets. There's rotting, leakage, termite damage, asbestos damage. The ground is on a nesting of rats, brown recluses, and a nesting ground for snakes during a certain time of the year. I remember it took about my middle school years and my high school years for my room to get fully redone. Because I never got a chance to move in that room till the year of 2011. So that's how long it took for that room to get done. It took the kitchen floor to get done for about a month. On top of that, there's a lot of bad memories, more than there is good memories. And, you know, I even talk about what the judge said to my overseers about their finances and saying, okay, if you knew you couldn't afford a house, well, I get it. Which led to them, you know, doing what they did with the money and how I ended up paying for the house. And which got me caught up. Because, you know, I'm about to get into something a bit personal right now. You know, where it is now, you know, one of them's about to go away because they haven't met their requirements for their work, especially when it comes to their court date. The other one's been working, but there's a good chance that it's going to cause something for that person to go away because their job shut down, which was GM. You know, GM at this moment is on strike during the making of this video, but you have the factories that work under GM that have to go through GM, and those factories, those people got laid off. Their job just isn't on strike. Like, they literally got to the point they got laid off, so they lost their job. There's a good chance once this is over, they're not going to be able to get their jobs back because the job is going to want to hire new people. Which now, because those ones that got laid off, a lot of people went on unemployment pay, which is only $230. And again, I gave the best idea about how unsmart these two people were and the trust and money in-depth video, because they're not the best when it comes to finances. They have been considered and labeled unfit financial owners because when they have money, rather than doing the right thing with it, they're gonna go off and spend it on bullshit, which is cars, guns, phones, and pills. Because the person that is now laid off went back to doing drugs, which is heavy pills. And to get into what I'm about to get into now, I'm wanting to address this. I know Wayne's going to see this video, and I noticed he's been pointing a lot of certain shade, talking about kids don't do drugs because of something I shared in a video. Let me tell you something. You have no room to talk. You yourself are a drug addict. I was brought up around people who did drugs. Yes, my family members got killed off because of doing heavy drugs. I fell in about a year ago to doing drugs, doing heavy pills for depression purposes, because that's what I fight with every day. And I did a video on suicidal depression, suicidal awareness. For those that want to check out that video, it's on this channel to save time. You know, the percentage where I come from, when it comes to streetwise, right? When it comes to being brought up in a certain environment, down here in the South, you know, and I talk about this in a video I did called Why the South Doesn't Have Heroes, Part 1 and Part 2, and I talk about the financial part of that, you know, why we don't have people to guide us when it comes to finances. So when we do get a bit of money, we go do something stupid with it. So if you guys want to know more about that, just watch that video, you know, to save time for me. And which brings me into this point. You know, all the bullshit, the bickering, beefing back and forth with Wayne, to me, no, not just to me, not just my point of view, but everything that I said in the videos I posted with the things that are in those videos are just not real. But that's the truth, and that's my truth. But because of me doing those things, that cost me money. You know, beefing cost me money, which did also play a part in me losing the house. Because by the time this video's up, I looked into moving into a very smaller place that only holds 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, half a living room, and no kitchen for like $100 a month. It got to the point before he wanted to pop his shit, talking about, oh, he knows what the business is. You didn't think certain people reached out to me to say, hey man, you want me to go ahead and take care of this guy? Because I was about ready to put $1,000 on your head to get dealt with. You know, I come from that. Which then brings me into this. I talk about there is no real gangsters in the South. It's because there's not. The small 1%, of the South is what people hear about that are really about that. I come from that. But then you take half of that 1%, and that's how small it is for the people that were really about that. I came from that. From the original West 7th Street to Lee Drive. Came from that. So when you hear about people busting shots, I busted shots. I seen people who bust shots. I came from those that were selling crack, selling weed, selling dope, heroin, actual real gang banging. I came from that. The stories that everyone heard about people dumping people in Dump River or being found shot or dead inside their house. A little bit of that 1% is true. A good majority of that came from outsiders from this town, bringing people over into the Duck River, dumping them, or it was people committing suicide that were killing themselves off a suicide bridge that is no longer standing. If you guys want to know about that, want to know more about that part, go to my new channel, my ChEDDErTarY 931 channel, and look up ghost stories, and I talk about that bridge. I talk about suicide bridge. But there's that. A good majority of the so-called killings were people in bad relationships, where people were abusing and beating their spouses. You know, in the end, real gangsters don't have money. Real gangsters go broke because they kept it real, because they were looking out for others. And knowing I looked out for people, I looked out for others. You know, I never asked anything in return. But in the end, you know, there was nobody there when I needed them. There's no such thing as really being real. The point of really being real is looking out for oneself. So, I may be in a crew, but I'm not going to be down for them. I'm going to be down for myself. When it comes to getting money, I'm going to be getting the money for myself, not for everyone else. So when I'm on top, you best believe there's going to be people underneath me that are going to be like, okay, I'm going to be out for ourselves, out for myself. Let's get him out of here so we could get some money. That's what being a real G is. The definition of being so-called a real G or a real gangster is fucking your homeboy's girl, fucking your homeboy's baby mama. I've been there. People fucked my girlfriend. I fucked somebody else's girlfriend before, other people's baby mamas. As far as I'm concerned, I never pulled out. I didn't. You know, I'm man enough to admit that I never pulled out, that I nutted in these women straight raw. I don't have any kids that I'm claiming at the moment, or no kids that I know of. But that's real. That's what being a real G is about. Especially when it came to busting off in a group and doing it anywhere. No, I came from that. And I talk about this, you know, I never had anyone to speak for me, to stand for me, or to fight my fights for me, because if you had somebody that's do that, you're not a real gangster and you're not a real man. Well, I literally come from those things. But But in the end, all that bickering and beefing cost me money. Especially those that came to me, and I thought I was like, you know what, put $1,000 on his head right now, that's it. Because you take any amount of money, right, from the streets to in the system. In the streets, you know, you put 1,000 to about 5,000 at the most on somebody's head, and they're going to turn into a war zone, so it ain't safe for that person. Just like if you're in jail, and I seen people put money on people's heads, and that small 1% that I talk about, that small 1%, that was very, very, very real and very about it. Because the rest of the South and people in general weren't about shit. They were pump fakers, they were fronting. These were people that were shooting up and getting high and hallucinating and fantasizing about a lifestyle that they never lived. But that real 1%, that was that percentage, and it really felt like the 80s of New York during that. But I seen people do that. In the system, $50 and commissary can go a long way. You put down somebody's head, you ain't safe. You put, I think the most that you can do is $1,000 in jail itself. You ain't safe. If you're in prison, the amount that you can have is $10,000. You put that on somebody's head, or if you put like a stack here or a rack there on somebody's head, it ain't safe, man. So I literally come from that. But where I am now, you know, maybe it's not destined for me to have it. But you know what? I never been stupid though about it. Because not only did I learn from what was going on with me, but I also learned from other people's mistakes. I know what I can afford to pay and what I can't afford to pay. I have to learn how to try to balance out the money. Understand there's not going to be no such thing as breaking out even. That whole breaking out even thing, that's a lie. That's a false. That's a dream that doesn't exist. And when it came to a little bit of money, I put that into investments, things that will pay off, things that eventually, like I said, I hope things change by the time you see this video, because I have a lot of money investments in figures, music equipment, jewelry, clothing, games. I think I said figure collection. I'm not too sure if I said that or not. Jewelry, artwork. I even have a real crystal and diamond rock collection. Plus, I have personal items that may not have value to somebody else, but have value to me, or something that cannot be replaced that does have value. Now, there is a good chance that yes, I'm going to have to get into everything that I just said, and eventually by early fall, I may have to have that yard/garage sale to have, and everything must go. Like everything, because I can't take none of it with me by the time I go into a new place after losing the house. You know, I don't have money to pay for a storage unit, which brings me to where my fundings are now for people that want to know, right? One, yes, I'm not seeing any more money from the clothing since I passed that on. There's no more the investment with acting because I lost money in that. I may see a few dollars here and there off music, which is only around $20, to keep it real. I only get $300 in SSI. I only get $150 in food stamps. And I only receive $50 every 2 weeks from doing a job. That's what I see now. So those where my finances are. And I'm being very open and honest in this video, something that I've been wanting to do. So I hope people, you know, understand, you know, now where it's like, oh, okay, that's what's really going on, or, you know, what has been happening, which is the update and open honest about me in this video. and I hope people now, understand. And as far as what's gonna happen to the house after those papers even get served to me, from my understanding of how things were then, you used to be able to take a bit of your stuff with you, whatever you could afford to grab. Everything else was left inside the house and put up for auction by the estate, and then the house was boarded up and torn down unless somebody bought it before its torn down day. To how things are now, you don't get to take your stuff with you. Like, you just get put out, that's it, because they bring law there. And I do know that they send people who go through the house to say, okay, let's grab a certain amount of items we can put up for auction, so the state can make their money back off the money that was lost and that was never, the money that was lost from the house from the people that were trying to pay for it, and plus the money that was lost because there were no payments being made, which then brings me to, yes, I can't make payments on the house. I can't. I ain't got the money to make payments, man. I'm not going to say how much it costs for me to try to make payments every 2 weeks, every month. I just can't make those payments. And then I know after they auction, certain items off, the rest of the stuff, they throw away or they put into a donate pile. From there, they board up the house, and then they leave it sitting for, however long, by the time they figure out a date to tear down the house. So pretty much, the house will be torn down and the stuff will be auctioned off / donated from what doesn't sell, and the stuff that's left will be thrown out and the house will be torn down. So pretty much it'll be an empty lot of land, there. That's how it goes. At the age of 30, I am most definitely trying to play catch up with myself, because, one thing that I left out in a video that was posted on why I retired from music, I gave my entire 20s away for music, and now with me in my 30s, I just want to dedicate it for me working, building up some finance, and just living a normal life. So, that's where I am now. And that's where I am right now in this, open, honest video, which is the update on me, and probably be, if not most definitely, the official last video for this channel. So those that support me on this channel, please go and subscribe to my new channel, which is now my main channel, which is the ChEDDErTarY 931 channel, which is my awoke channel. That being said, I'm out. Peace. To add on to the last part of this video, hopefully by the time you guys see this video, that will be late February, early March. Hopefully, hopefully things will be back on track. Hopefully I won't have to sell my stuff. Hopefully I am in a new place by then. That is $100 a month, and hopefully that I will have a bit of extra income coming in where I can put my stuff in storage and afford to keep it. And hopefully by then, mom will be hopefully back at work after GM gets done with their strike, because she works for one of the factories that work underneath GM that did end up getting laid off and losing their job. And I will be linking certain videos down in the description below this video, so you guys can check out, that can also tie into this video to help save time. So, peace. I do want to add a little bit more to this video. It is the second day. It is September 27th, 2019. And I know there's going to be some questions about, what about filing for bankruptcy or loans? And I want to talk about the bankruptcy thing first. One, yes, you can file for bankruptcy as many times as you need to after your first time limit of being in bankruptcy is up. But what people don't really know about bankruptcy is that you do have to pay every 2 weeks a certain amount of money to bankruptcy to help you with your bills as you're also getting out of bankruptcy. You know, we filed for bankruptcy when I was at the age of maybe 3 or 4 years old, and we didn't get out of it until I was at the age of 26. And that goes to show how long you can stay in bankruptcy for, right? Now, after everything is paid off, you gotta wait about another year. And so by the time I was 27 years old, you know, bankruptcy gives you a check with the money that you paid to them that helped you pay your bills. And of course, as you can imagine, you know, rather than doing the right thing with that money, now of course you're not going to get all the money because a lot of it won't be cash because the banks or the loan places, you know, are not going to have a certain amount of money to cash like that. Plus, some has to be took out from Uncle Sam for state taxes. But as you can imagine, you know, rather than doing the right thing, because even then, you know, just doing the stupid shit of not wanting to make the proper house payments, bills, food, trying to get things up to date, no, cashed it and did stupid shit with it, as in buying another car you can't afford, new high-priced phones, guns, a computer that you can't afford that you had to make payments on. So, you know, that's what ended up happening with that. And, you know, being in bankruptcy costs more money since you're paying them. And myself, you know, I'm in bankruptcy within myself after things that took place. And, you know, I'm not going to get out of it till I'm at the age of 65. So that goes to show how long somebody can be in bankruptcy for. Not to mention, I have to sacrifice $100 a month to my bankruptcy payment. Now, when it comes to loans, you know, me, I don't know if I qualify for a loan, but I would imagine I do. It's just that I don't know, because I never had a job before. You know, I never, you know, truly worked at a job. I never worked at a job, so I don't have a pay stub to give to, you know, these financial loan places. Now, they can't borrow any more money from the loan places because of the money that they were taking out back when they were stealing from me, and then goes into even now, like they're on a block list. Red X's pop up by their name, as well as going into them, you know, being in trouble with one of the loan places because they're still owing, you know, money. So, you know, you can be in debt with them. And as far as me, you know, not working, well, I say I never had a job before, that's true. I never had a job before a day in my life. The only jobs that I had back in 07 to 08 was at McDonald's for almost about 2 years. I was manager. Then the next job I had for almost about 3 years, maybe a good full 2 years at the most, was over at the TRC plant, which I don't think is around anymore. Because when I go by there a couple of times, you know, I never see cars, and the sign is pretty much gone, so they're not around anymore from what it looks like. You know, I had my paychecks, my pay stubs from them, and I made, you know, good money over there, but I would never, you know, go back there because of the abuse that took place behind closed doors. You know, when I talk about that in a video called TRC, the worst program, that's on my ChEDDErTarY 931 channel. As far as me work now, yes, I'm doing work, but I only get paid $50 every 2 weeks. And, you know, I don't qualify for, you know, a real job out here because I don't have any schooling background or no references at that, let alone real work experience. And, you know, I talk about those things in the Fake Diploma video, plus the follow-up Fake Diploma video as well, that you guys can watch down in the description below, because there's going to be links to those videos. And, you know, that's really about it, what I wanted, you know, to add to this. Is that right there. Me, you know, just really being open, honest in this video. And as far as right now, you know, mom's looking for another job. She filled out 2 applications, and if you guys go back to what I said earlier in the video, yes, it's the factories are pretty much, you know, their doors are closed, shut down, and these are the smaller factories that work underneath GM, where they laid off all their workers and the doors are closed. Now, after this whole thing is done, if GM doesn't get closed down, and even if it does take a year, I guarantee you those small factories would be underneath not just new management, but underneath a new brand with them, and they're going to bring in outside workers because they're not going to want to hire the same workers that worked there before in town. You know, that's how shit works like that. From my father, put it this way, he depends on my mother's unemployment check. So that should go to show that, you know, the job he has, it ain't paying like that. You know, he worked for a job called Rodea, then now it's known as Inofos. It's only 4 factories in the world, and I talk about this in the Trusted Money interview, how you can go up in payments in that job, kind of like ranks. And, you know, and he still chooses to stay down at the bottom to where, you know, my mother's unemployment check is $230. So that should go to show how much he gets paid if he has to depend on that, because he refuses to move up. He expects to, you know, live off others and steal money that he thinks he's owed. You know? So yeah, his work can go up to $3,000. Now you ain't gonna receive the full $3,000 because money does have to be took out for tax purposes. So yeah, not too much else, you know, more that I can add specifically to this video, but this is, you know, an update on me being very open and honest about things. And if things change by the time early March gets here, I'll let you guys know, but this video will be up in early March of 2020 by the time you guys, y'all see this video. Here's another update, and I know this video is going to get long, but this is the last part of the video. It is October, I want to say October 5th. It might be. It definitely is a Saturday, so it is October 5th. And we did end up getting our papers served. Well, I got my papers served. And the sheriff came by, got kicked out the house. Now the state has the house. Again, going back to what I said, did get foreclosed on the house. was supposed to put money down on a trailer today, but the unemployment check never came in. The office never bothered to send it out. Just like with it being now past 2 weeks, they never even sent in the referral like they were supposed to. So, hey, you know, I lost a place again. From there, where I'm at now is where you see me. I am gonna find a way to get this video out, and I always keep some backups on me to make sure I put this video together and to get it out to you guys. From there, to open up a bit, you know, I always made sure I had business done first when there was money coming in. And there are some things that, you know, I didn't share in the Trust and Money in-depth interview, that these statements are down on paper that the court has from this past case to my lawyer. You know, things that are on file. You know, always made sure my business was done first, and the stuff that I was doing in between the things that I shared and what people thought they saw. You know, I was out there living a very fast lifestyle. You know, I was out on the road a lot with some folk, you know, and I was getting paid. I was also managing some artists as well. Throughout that, you know, I would receive free things at times where I didn't have to spend money. And throughout the process and the majority of that, I never bothered to put away any money because I didn't think this would ever happen to me. And going back, you know, growing up, you know, I never had those smart individuals around me to say, hey, you should put away money, you should save. You know, because where I come from and how the times were then, you know, you didn't have those type of leaders or mentors or smart people to say, hey, you should put your money away. You should, you know, put, you know, into a savings, not, what's the word? Not investing, but saving. Saving is the word I'm looking for. And, you know, I just never had that. So what I would do with the money, which was left, you know, I would hit up my friend, right? It would be a couple of people at times, but mainly only one majority of a person that was there. You know, I'm not gonna bring him up. His name starts with a P. That's about it. That's all you guys need to know. And I would pay him some good money several times for gas and to also take me to places. So, you know, I would spend money on clothes. You know, if you guys were to ask me how much would I spend on clothes, right? Well, I'm going to give you guys a good estimate so you guys can add it up. Back when I was working, I haven't worked for like 12 years. And that was back during the TRC days. And my knowledge, they're no longer around anymore. But, you know, I would spend around $220 to $30. So around $220 to $230 on clothes, right? That's not including shoes and jewelry. And that would be literally every 2 weeks. And then still having money in my pocket, and then always hitting the streets, because I always ran with a group of people who we just hit the streets trying to get money, trying to make money, you know. And we all had the mindset of, man, you know, well, they had the mindset I always kept the mindset after I left the place was, you know, fuck a job. You'll never catch me working this 9 to 5, trying to live paycheck to paycheck, you know, out here trying to get it fast. And that was the problem, was trying to get it fast, not slowing down, not having the right people around me. Now, some of these individuals, don't get me wrong, they were good people. They're good people. Some of them ain't around no more, either locked up or maybe dead, for all I know. But that was that. And then you look into me, you know, again, going back, I was saying before, you know, when my SSI did kick in, and I talked about this in good depth in the Trust of Money in Depth interview. You know, I wanted to hit the road. That's what I did. I did a few shows, managed a few people, made some money. And when I got back, I collected money from other things that I did. And, you know, I was spending around $340 on clothes I was spending around maybe $100 on games. Then around $350 on phones. Around $200 for transfer and gas. What else? Maybe around $100 every now and then on some jewelry. And that was just on my part. And then $1,000 every couple of months on movies. I kid you not. You know, them right there were my spending habits. You know, especially the things, once I got a bit older, what I did start investing in that have value. It's just that I always decided to sit on them, and now I can't do nothing with them because now with things being left in the house, we can't go back to what's going to happen. Well, I think when it comes to the stuff, I don't know if the workers pick through things to take home with them that they like or they donate it. But I think usually in this case, what they do, and it depends, right? They usually, I think they put that stuff up for local auction. But actually they pick out things that are going to have value or what they think may have value. So the guns, the TVs, the electronic game stations, the jewelry, those things usually get put up for auctions, and some of the expensive clothes items as well. When it comes to my music collection, I think those get donated, or they pick out certain things that are going to have value, which a good majority of my music collection does have value, so it's a good chance it may go up. Or if everything in that house, again, once it's picked through, and things will be put up either for auction, and I can't talk because I'm upset and I'm trying to be calm. And I think what's left might be donated, and then whatever else is there will be, you know, thrown out as trash. If I were to say, yes, my stuff that I have in my room and things that I have packed down in storage bins are a good chance that are going to be half for auction and half donated. I don't see anything being thrown out except photos and the home videos. That's it. And there's a good chance that it might, even those might go up for donations or auctions, because right now this is pretty big for Colombia, for the housing and the financial people for this to happen. and there's no value in the house. The value of the house went way down to $15,000. You know, going back, you guys, you know, going back to what I said before, you know, of course, what's wrong with the house. So that fills that part in. You know, not really else much to say at all. With the house itself, it will be boarded up, and the state, they usually boarded up houses up for quite a long time, and of course the government and now the state owns the house and the property, so there's going to be private property, no trespassing signs, obviously, and they usually leave those sitting up for a numerous amount of years until it gets torn down. So whatever year and whenever it happens, it will be torn down. So there is that. From there, you know, a lot of people, you know, are going to say, why don't you get a job? Why don't you get a job? Well, like I said, there's going to be links to things that are going to be filling in a lot of the empty spaces that I said before. But to elaborate on that part, you know, I ended up receiving a fake diploma around 12, 13 years ago. You know, I'm now at the age of 30, you know, and I was put on the No Child Left Behind Act. And the No Child Left Behind Act is for people who are troubled youth, learning disabilities, and people who couldn't afford to go to school. And I fit all three of those categories, and you know, just like now, except for the troubled youth part. And it was just meant to be passed on by. It was, so it doesn't matter if you did good or bad, they would just pass you on by. And supposedly that it would stop the states and the schools from holding back a student to repeat another year, because allegedly it would cost the state and the school money to do that. So they also did that to save money. Well, my caseworkers at the time, they knew about it, and I never knew about it. And I do believe they signed off on for this part to happen. So when it came time for me to walk, because I only had 3 years of school, I never had the full set of 4 because I got skipped up because of my age. And when I was given my diploma, I noticed everyone else's, and I never thought anything of it at the time, I noticed everyone else's had like the black and white seal, the silver seal, the gold seal, you know, what I talked about before in the fake diploma video. Well, you know, mine's never had it, never had write-offs until last year. I found out everything through a phone call when I tried to get a job. It was a 3-way conversation, a lot of research, and things were being done like that on all 3 sides, you know, plus my side as well, which is the 3rd side of that conversation. And of course, that's when I found out I was given a false diploma. I am registered as a dropout in the system, plus on my record as incomplete. So because of that, for today's requirements, right, because some states don't care about the education system, if you completed school or not, and some states do. Well, Tennessee is a state that cares. So in order to now get a job, and of course, you know, I even talked about this, you know, again, not just in the fake diploma video, but the follow-up fake diploma video, and I was offered to go back to school video. Well, to meet the requirements for today's standards, right, for the new terms, you must now have full 4 years of high school, a year of college, 6 months of work experience, a clean record, which I do have now, so it's completely, utterly erased when it comes to me being a 3rd-time felon. So you guys ain't gonna find nothing on me anymore with that. You must have no types of disabilities. Well, sucks for that. You must also have good credit, which I don't have, and a vehicle transportation. You know, and those are the requirements that are now needed to get a job. And, you know, I don't meet none of those requirements because of a lot of things. And plus, you know, when I try to fill up an application, I only filled it out so much because I don't have recommendations. I don't have references. I never worked any other jobs because, like I said, not just a good majority of my childhood, but my teenage years and my young adult years, I was always out getting into mischief and running the streets. You know, never had guidance in my life or people around me to say, hey, this is what you should do. No, I always had the other type of influence, which was the negative influence, which got me to where I am now. And when it came to money, when it was there, I never knew what to do with it, to be honest. Most of the time, I either gave it away or I spent it on shit just because I wanted it, and then that was it. And then the rest of the time, there was no money at all because of a lot of things. So, where I'm at now, I don't know where I'm going to be at by the time I get to upload this video in early March. I don't. You know. However, I am going to make the attempt to upload this when you guys see it. And of course, the rest of the videos are already uploaded. You know, I'm going to keep my backup SD cards and flash drives with my work on it because that's my work and it means something. It means something to me. So, not too much else, you know. Anything, yes, this is the last video for this channel. Even the last update until whatever may happen. You know, I have a lot of catching up to do, and one thing I never focused on when it came to myself was work to make income. It's one thing I never focused on, and I believe now, with me having 9 years left before I'm 40, I think now it's time to focus on myself with the financial aspect, even if it means going out there, running the streets again to sell drugs, to rob people, if I have to, stick up a gas station, or kill somebody. I don't want to go back to that, but if I have to, I will. You know, I'm trying to look for the positive aspects to make income and to survive, not the negative aspects to survive. Hell, I can't even get a job at Goodwill, and they hire slow people all the damn time, but they got the requirements to meet that I don't. What bugs me out, they don't even do drug tests, and most of them are crack fiends. I'm serious. Every first of the month during the summertime, some of the workers, they meet after their job late night to go see the dope man or whatever and spend money, and they just get high right there on the spot and turn it into a bunch of Hulu angels. I see the shit. So, you know, that's where I'm at, and, you know, I'm out. I'm sorry that this video long, but this is a real update. Add-on part right here, which is the last part of this, to show you guys where else my spending habits were. I would spend about $50 to $100 sometimes a night for a quick fuck from a prostitute, one who remained loyal, and also to get her a quick bump as well. So, yeah, you know, that added up quick, especially transferring money as well to her, doing it, which I did have the receipts for,
that were put away, but I'm pretty sure when somebody scavenged through that box with all my court papers, past criminal records, school history stuff, plus my financial, they're gonna be surprised. Court documents. Yeah.